Good morning, evening, afternoon. Today we are playing Echoes, a Lucid9 fan game. Previously, Rui had to sit through Kosuke's mad scientist speech, and he was like, "Trust me, Hayata." And Rui very much thankfully was like, "Ha, fuck you." And then we learned that Yama is in a nearby place, and Rui is sent down like this super secret hideaway place, and we talked to some security guard who was a little bit funny, who liked Rui's jokes. We went down there, and we're in the tunnel, and we're going somewhere, and that's where we left off. Yeah, so yeah, let's continue. Nevertheless, if you have any questions regarding those duties, this may be the last chance you'll have to get them answered for quite some time. Is there anything you'd like to go over before we proceed? Is it going to let me... Okay, cool. I was about to ask if it's going to let me do stuff. Can I ask more than one thing? I'm going to save just in case. Does it matter? I'm going to choose this one just to see if it matters or not. I assume Yama is at least somewhat stable these days. It would be fairly low of you to lie about his health after everything he's been through. I just said that. I've told you numerous times that I have nothing to gain from misrepresenting the truth, especially when it concerns Ishimoto. Your refusal to believe me is quite, frankly, troubling. I assume this assurance isn't enough here. If you want me to stop asking about him, you're going to have to go into a little more detail. Well, that's the problem then. Most of that information is classified. Despite that, I can tell you that we've made great strides in improving his mental and physical health. While he has demonstrated some cautious, right? Yes, cautious. Alright, brain broke for a moment. While he has demonstrated some cautious and relatively risk-averse behavior after the conclusion of the procedures, we implemented our test for borderline personality disorder and traumatic brain injury have both come up negative. As for his physical recovery, he's been looking better than ever. I think you'll be pleased. How so? Kosuke sends me a wry smirk. That's all I can say at the moment, I'm afraid. Anything else you'd like to go over? Okay, so I can ask all of the things. Alright, so they're not going to just appear as I go down the list, because I think I'm going to ask all of the things. It doesn't seem to have a negative impact on him, at least not yet. What can you tell me about my cybergenetics? There must have been a reason all that training and exercise wasn't enough. You're correct, Hayata. When the IIBA incident took place, and you demonstrated your willingness to protect Yama, as well as vice versa, The board concluded that you were the single most valuable asset contributing to his recovery. Due to the circumstances beyond my control, however, it seems that someone or something didn't want him to walk away as easily as you did. Despite this, however, you chose to accept my offer. In completing the first mission I gave you, you demonstrated that you were willing to carry the burden of these unavoidable consequences. You gave me the choice to either kill or be killed. That's not much of an offer. And yet, you accepted it. Nonetheless, I wanted to reward your decision, dedication, even. My goodness, Kosuke. You were not only willing to execute 2 priority targets, but amenable to conducting business on way forward's terms. Your thoracic hybrid solid state plasma battery was the first tool you were implanted with, installed with the goal of making your future operations in special services more effective. Its ability to carry up to 10 gigajoules of electrochemical energy and an emergency plasma cell was crucial, especially given that it could split metabolic water into oxygen. Once we brought the battery's integrated glucose synthesis apparatus online, we succeeded in boosting your resting metabolism by 2 kilowatts. When combined with the growth factors we introduced into your cardiovascular system and skeletal muscle, your strength and endurance became second to none before long. Ishimoto was enhanced in much the same manner, though it was more in the interest of repairing the physical injuries as quickly as possible. Before long, I surmise that you'll be able to protect one another from all of the most powerful threats. Well, what's the point then if we can't protect each other from the most powerful? You were there, Hayata. You saw what Jiro Ryota was capable of. Brutality of that magnitude pales in comparison to what you two will inevitably face by remaining in the city. Then let us leave the city. For that reason, I believe that your willingness to rise to the challenge should be compensated by giving you the means to overcome future challenges. I have faith that when that time comes, both of you will succeed. Is there anything else you'd like to go over? Ooh, does that mean I get to work with Yama at some point? Do we have to kill Yama at some point? Oh, that's awful. Not suitable for the faint of heart, huh? You expecting a body count? I'll say it outright, Hayata. There will be casualties that you cannot avoid. Beneath its mask of prosperity and achievement, Isamu is a city built upon violence and the suffering of its people. As expected from ruthless and inflexible environments under extreme stress, not everyone here has the privilege of a stable income. With every passing day, more individuals with equally extreme mindsets are moving to threaten the safety and security of this corporation's employees, institutions, and client base. Are there any casualties I can avoid? That is a difficult question to answer. You'll typically be sent on a variety of missions with a partner or squad, which may involve working with private and public agencies alike to resolve threats of terror and violent crimes. As you're likely aware, there is a high probability that you will be asked to help enforce the terms of citizen contracts and non-disclosure agreements made with qorld and other corporations in Isamu. As an SSD operative, you will be properly equipped and not sent into any situation where your life will be directly threatened. While operating in any region or territory claimed by the Isamu meritocracy, however, you're strongly advised to comply with state law. What happens if I slip up? If it occurs under my orders, I will settle on your behalf and resolve the matter quietly. If you choose to disregard or defy these orders, however, qorld will not be able to guarantee your safety. District 2 is our corporate autonomous zone, formerly the jurisdiction of the Office of the Peace. While privately owned, they are still considered law enforcement here. When you're assigned to work with them, treat them as you would treat Limnisgate Security, Blackstar, or the state-owned police. To avoid confusion, you will be briefed alongside your partner or squad before orders are formally given. While you may share your thoughts regarding them or be granted leeway in how you carry them out, their specific terms are absolute. As far as I'm concerned, your combat ability is more than adequate. Just be aware that every life you choose to save comes at a potential cost to the mission you've been assigned. Well, that's fairly fucking cold. If that's how he wants to put it, I might as well go full Edgelord with my response and see what his reaction is. I can take people out if you need me to. That way, the way The way I see it, once the safety's off, and there's one in the chamber, everyone is just another target. Once you aim your weapon at someone, anyone can be considered just another target. Don't underestimate the dehumanizing power of firearms, whether you sympathize with or vilify the opposition. Every weapon in the right hands has the power to completely remove a human being from existence. Most of all, never forget that every act of violence produces consequences that someone will have to live with. Bullets are cheaper than prison cells, you know. Death is a solution to all problems. No man, no problem. This isn't the best time to be quoting Stalin, Hayata. Of course she's quoting Stalin. Why wouldn't she quote Stalin? Would you like to go over anything else? Leave it to Rui to just randomly quote Stalin. Sounds like I'm ditching my old job. Should I expect anything more from relocating to the compound? Officially, you will be transferred from the Department of Psychiatric Medicine to the Special Services Division, while your duties as a clinical psychiatrist will be taken over, and the record will only indicate a general transfer. The compound will become your base of operations as an SSD operative. While some more experienced operatives may be given the ability to live more conventional life when off duty, you will live and work there full time, at least for the foreseeable future. I've decided that having you learn the ropes is better use of your time than having you treat patients. Once you're significantly familiar with the layout of the compound, you'll be expected to undergo further physiological enhancements in order to best be able to perform your duties. That shouldn't be a problem, though. You're already familiar with the installation process for cybernetic enhancements, so you shouldn't have any trouble adjusting to our more advanced procedures. I assume they won't be any more painful than I can handle. Quite the opposite. In fact, not only has our technology gotten safer, but recovery from its implantation is almost immediate. We haven't cut corners on amenities either. Not only will you be given a room comparable in size to your previous accommodations, but you'll have permanent access to the mess hall and some of the best computers this corporation has at its disposal. While we're on the subject of computers, however, you should know that both your rental laptop and phone have been temporarily deactivated as a precaution against infiltration. Define deactivated, please. As the IT guys like to put it, both of your devices are now completely bricked. All software, drives, network, encryptions, keys, firmware, and local files have been uninstalled alongside the operating systems of the devices. For your phone, that's the Textile Carbide 8 WFPC custom kernel OS, and for your laptop, that's the System 16 WayForward's Gateway OS. In addition, the hard drives are now protected by an SSD anti-interference daemon, so I'd recommend turning them over to your commanding officer in the division so their security can be upgraded to requisite standards. Otherwise, you won't be able to get much done on them. Same as before then? Indeed. Look on the bright side though. At least you don't have OS 31 forcing you to update your system or transmitting your location to CIS. As for your files, they're safely and securely backed up to our cloud servers. Even that 200 gigabyte desktop folder you keep filled to the brim with pictures of little boys. What? You do realize naming it work stuff isn't going to fool anyone. Are they like boy groups? A flash feet rushes to the back of my neck. What does she have in these files? Kosuke, I swear, it's not what it looks like. I'm just yanking your chain, Rui. That folder is much more dedicated to little boys, singular. Little boy, singular. The non-nuclear variety, of course. What? It's a bit odd that you kept so many pictures of the two of you. Okay. Engaging in random activities as children. But I can't judge you too harshly. That is what you keep in there, correct? That is what you keep in there, is it not? Hayata? I nod my head reluctantly. I just think he's really cute in those old photos. Nearly every muscle in my body cringes in unison, as if crying out in protest. After he noticed my reaction, Kosuke's eyes widened and his jaws clamped down. His tongue. At least he's trying not to laugh at me. Don't look so flustered, Hayata. If you look like you're this worried that DCIS is going to kick down your door and send you to a reduction camp, they might actually make up some charge to do it over. Could we maybe talk about something else now? Yes, of course. I apologize for getting sidetracked. Returning to our original topic of discussion, I should mention beforehand, there we go, that for security reasons, the division is divided into isolated cells, each with their own base of operations and command structure. We have a large amount of general operations cells, some tech ops cells, some risk control cells, intelligence cells, psy-ops cells, and a few cells dedicated to anti-synthetic and anti-paranormal operations. But in total, there are a good few hundred currently operating behind the scenes. Typically, each SSD cell employs around 30 people, 9 of whom work as operatives and the remaining as support staff. Unlike operatives, however, the staff members focus almost exclusively on internal matters, usually under the categories of security, maintenance, and general logistics. While they may assist operatives with their duties, on base staff are authorized to conduct or be part of off-base missions themselves. At the very most, they'll be charged with analyzing surveillance data from other departments in order to ensure that our more controversial operations don't become public knowledge. Huh. Doesn't sound too bad, actually. We do our best to look out for our people. Is there anything else you'd like to go over? I guess this is the last one. Does the SSD really need to be this cloaked and dagger about everything? Secrecy isn't exactly cheap these days. The answer to that stems from the nature of qorld itself. Of the 3 major corporations recognized and given legal representation under the meritocracy's constitution, many would argue that our ideas are among the most noble and sacrosanct. Since the establishment of the corporate autonomous zones in 2038, qorld has granted the most reliable and extensive social insurance policies to its employees, as well as being directly involved in philanthropic and initiatives worldwide. That can't be cheap today in today's economy. It isn't. While we want to give everyone working with us a leg up and do what we can to help humanity at large move past its current state of sickness and poverty, looking after our own people already costs tens and trillions of annually. Despite Isamu's political foundations of nationalism and private-public partnership, its corporations, military, and government are all actively competing for control while attempting to work together. Ours is an absolute oxymoron of society. Definitely right about the moron part. Kosuke breathes an audible sigh, something I've grown to expect from him whenever I sling mud at the government in a place where they can't censor me. It's what the Ministry of Justice would call instituting the state. Oh, insulting the state. I don't know why I said institute. Insulting the state. A minor criminal offense that automatically gets anyone who commits it diagnosed with ODD and put on a watch list. You do it enough, and they might send you to a re-education camp and pump you full of drugs until you agree with everything the government is doing. If you don't, well, nobody really knows what happens after that. The good news is, you can't report your friends, family, and neighbors to DCIS in exchange for a... Oh, you can report your friends, family, and neighbors to DCIS in exchange for a check from the government. Since the cities started coming down from its post-independence patriotism high, the amount of fuck all that gets done in District 1 has become more and more obvious to literally everyone, especially now that the people there are paying sizable amounts of money to keep that fuck all from being discussed. Ahem. As I was saying, this is going to be a little bit of a longer episode than usual. We may operate under more humanitarian values than Lemnis Gate or Kazahaya Combine, but we still need to be capable of defending ourselves from their influence. As a response to this issue, the Special Security Division was founded to locate and respond to anything threatening this corporation's property and reputation. Unlike the Office of the Peace, the SSD answers directly to me and is largely responsible for enforcing policies rather than writing laws. Written laws. As our reputation is one of our main strengths, some of our operations must be kept secret if we wish to retain our influence, especially those that many would see as controversial or unethical. As such, many special service operations focus on controlling the spread of information that could be used against us. Not only that, but some of this corporation's research projects are so sensitive in nature that only special service personnel can be trusted to work on them. The development and installation of your cybernetic enhancements was one of the major ones. Until you sworn in, I can't give you any other details on what those projects are, but you already know that some of them make direct use of the implants of the inpatients on level 3. Explains why the place was a ghost town. Indeed, accessing it requires employees to possess a clearance level of Alpha 1 or higher, a level only granted to board members and tenured operatives and employees of the division. However, there's no doubt in my mind that you'll make responsible use of the authority that's been granted to you. Is there anything else you'd like to go over? Well, it looks like we've gone over everything, so we'll end this episode here. We'll see where we get to go in the next episode.